warm welcome to you all, my dear friends. From now on, we will be getting together with you online on Instagram and on YouTube later on, and we will talk about Deflex. We have a lot of subjects and cases to discuss together, materials, indications, application instructions, how to do them, some tips and tricks during handling, and some case examples. Before I start, I have to say that I may not catch your questions and comments during the live stream, so please send me your questions or any kind of comments or feedback directly, and I will reply them one by one after the session. For those using already Deflex materials would already know that we have quite a plenty of different type of polymers. A lot of type of polymers for different indications. So this is for one reason. Probably you would already know that most of these similar kind of materials doesn't have this much of broad options to choose from. But Deflex is aware of that no case is the same with each other. Every different case has their own special conditions, like free ending cases, some diverted teeth abutments, things like that. And this is why Deflex is having more than one type of polymer to suggest for you to use. So we have like M10, and we have Classic, we have Fluence, Supra or Acrylato, and also Acetal. And also we have another one as well, which is called Peak. For Peak we will discuss about it on a later time, but today I want to discuss about, first of all, the other polymers different than Peak. So Deflex thermoplastic polymers have a lot of benefits, and in order to summarize them in one page, we can most importantly say that they are very resistant to impact. Like when you drop them or under chewing loads, they are very resistant and very strong materials. They have no metal or no monomers inside, like free radicals. You know, those free radicals are very unhealthy for the human being, and we can have them in regular type of acrylic resins. But in Deflex polymers, they are already polymerized, and you just apply them with some thermoplastic methods. So we have absolutely no free radicals or no monomers inside a Deflex polymer material. And they are very aesthetically pleasing. Like you can do almost invisible retentive elements with Deflex materials, and they are kind of translucent, so the shade allows the underlying tooth tissue or the soft tissue to show through the material, to show through the denture, which makes it almost invisible inside the mouth during function. So this is very aesthetic for the patient. Instead of having this kind of metal retainers, we can do very aesthetic outcomes with using Deflex retainers. And also they are very lightweight and comfortable. A lightweight denture is very important for the patient. I am a dentist as well, and I am enjoying this benefit. A lot of times because they are very light when you compare them with acrylic resins, and they can accept very fine polish. They are very nicely polishable, and they don't absorb liquid at all. We can say it, they don't absorb. It's very, very extremely low liquid absorption. So this makes it be functional for a long time in the mouth. It doesn't make any kind of odor, bad smell, or change color, because they have no interaction with the intraoral like saliva or any other kind of liquid. With the intraoral conditions, they have no interaction in any chemical way. So about the occlusal rest, I want to talk about them as well, because occlusal rests are very important for the safety of the denture for the patient, and it allows the denture to stay in place, not to make some pressure onto the soft tissues. And Deflex materials are not so flexible. Somehow they are a little bit stiff or rigid, we can say, and this makes them available for making the occlusal rests to be done with the same material. And we have indications that cases can be done with Deflex. Of course, we can do complete dentures or partial removable dentures, and we can even combine them with some cast metal framework. It's no problem. And we can also do some temporary or immediate dentures with Deflex materials, like after the implant surgery, while we are waiting for the osseointegration of the implants to the bone. We can use in a very safe way the Deflex dentures to act or to serve as a temporary denture for the patient's comfort and speech and function. We can also do some occlusal splints and night guards, because we have very broad broad option of colorings. And we can also do overdentures because they are stiff materials. We can combine them with some bars or some precision attachments. These all can be done with these kind of materials. As I stated before, Deflex materials are not just flexible. No. They are a combination of flexibility and stiffness. So this makes them having more advantages to us, enabling us to address more cases on our patients. Like flexibility is of course good for stress absorption, absorbing the load onto the material and not forwarding or not reflecting everything onto the human bone or the soft tissue. Also, it's good for avoiding the leverage, like this cantilever thing. And for comfort and adaptation, flexibility is a very high necessity. Also for retention. Retention of the retentive areas, the clasps of Deflex are very functional and very comfortable for the patient. But at the same time, we need stiffness too, because stiffness helps us share the load and distributing it to the whole structure in an equal way. And we can protect the soft tissues, as I said, by applying the occlusal rests with the same material. And we can have more freedom for design of the denture. So we can address more clinical cases, more different types of tooth loss cases, we can apply any kind of treatment using different Deflex material options. About the packing, I find it very important and very different than other materials I have ever used, because Deflex materials have some special kind of packaging. This is very important because this kind of polymers, those thermoplastic polymers, are very sensitive to humidity, any kind of material. And as far as I know, Deflex is the only company who is aware and who has invested on finding a cure, finding a solution to that. So all the cartridges of Deflex are in vacuum plastic tubes. So there is no air, there is no humidity inside, and also some moisture absorbent material they have. So you can keep the cartridge individually free from air and humidity until the time you use it. It's very important. They are not packed in 5 or 4 cartridges in one package. They're also sold in 2 different diameters because throughout the world we have mainly 2 types of injecting machine. Some of them use 22 millimeter diameter cartridges, and some machines 25 millimeter cartridges are used. So Deflex has a solution for both type of machine. We have 22 and 25 millimeter cartridges, and we have 3 sizes in most of the materials, like small for repairs and additions, and medium is for normal partial dentures, and large one for bigger partials or complete dentures. So you can choose any of them according to the case, according to your need. The colors, we have different variety, a lot of variety of colors, and you can check them with a shade guide as well. And they are mainly translucent, so almost all the materials except acetal and PEEK, of course, this translucency lets the underlying soft tissue or the dental tissue, tooth tissue color show through in a very aesthetic way, and this makes a lot of difference in aesthetic aspect during function, during use of the patient. And we have some pale pinks, soft pinks, some translucent soft pinks, medium pinks, transparents and dark pink, for example, for those ethnic cases, to match the shade with the gingiva, with the soft tissues. And for acetal, we have the Vita shades of A2, A3, A3.5, B3, and C3 even. We also have pink shade for acetal. If you look at the materials in detail, I would like to start with M10. This is the most rigid type of polymer we have. It's extra rigid, and it has a greater stiffness and resistance. It's very resistant material, and you can design your denture in a very reduced thickness, so it's more helpful for the function and phonation, like speech as well, and it's very comfortable for the patient. They are ideal for complete dentures or over dentures, like with some extra precision attachments. You can combine them, also for immediate dentures. And it has a chemical bond with regular acrylic resin, so that you can reline or make additions to this material using conventional materials, acrylic resins, and using conventional techniques. And it has a very minimal contraction. This means it doesn't change its dimension easily, or at all, so that it's very, the fitting on to the soft tissue or in the mouth is very nice. On the model is almost perfect. The Classic is the flagship of Deflex. It's the starting point of Deflex. Now we call it Classic because now we have a lot of addition in the range of products. It has an optimal balance between stiffness and flexibility. As I told you, stiffness and flexibility has individually a lot of advantages for us during the rehabilitation. So Deflex Classic is a real good combination of these two properties, and you can do the occlusal rest as I told before, and it has a very high shine, polishability and translucency, and they are ideal for all parts of all types of partial dentures, removable dentures. Fluence is, it has very similar properties to Classic, but it's more fluid to inject. So you can make the injection more easily and more practically. And it's slightly more flexible than Deflex Classic, but more or less they have similar properties, and it's also ideal for all partial denture, removable denture types. Supra is semi-flexible. Like the others were like semi-rigid, but this is more towards the flexible side. It has a medium flexibility, and it's also very resistant to fracture, and you can design your denture in a very reduced thickness way, which would be very comfortable for the patient, and it has extreme fluidity during injection. So this makes some parameters of injection to be changed during application. I will talk about them in detail later on. And it's already ideal for the clinical cases where more elasticity is required, like some angulated pillar or abutment teeth to go under them to be able to place the denture inside the mouth. These kind of cases are ideal cases for Supra. Acrylato is basically an injectable acrylic, and also this one has chemical bond with acrylic as well, so you can do all relining or additions or kind of repairs by using conventional acrylic resin, and the conventional techniques you can do it very easily. And it has higher impact resistance and molecular weight, less molecular weight than regular acrylic resin. So it is an injectable acrylic, but it is far more better, ideal than the regular acrylic resin. Already it also meets the requirements of the residual monomer content, which is defined by the ISO standards. It meets the requirements of residual monomer content, which is very unhealthy for human beings. It meets the requirements, and it has very low shrinkage. Also, without any free monomers or residual monomers inside. So this makes it ideal for, again, for complete dentures or overdentures or temporary dentures for after implants, for example, like M10. And I will discuss with you, I will show to you the levels of flexibility or rigidity in a later page. And acetal is the injectable acetal material of Deflex, and it has very high mechanical impact resistance. It's not the same with a regular acetal material. It's It's far more than that. It has a very low liquid absorption, like as a different property. The stability and surface hardness is very high with Deflex acetal. So this makes it to protect its shade. It doesn't have any change of shade or make some odor or smell inside the mouth. So it's ideal for tooth-colored retentive elements, clasps, or removable partial denture frameworks, as you can see in the picture. And it has the Vita shades, most of the Vita shades, and also a pink shade as well. These are the examples that you can apply with acetal, Deflex acetal. And Peak, Deflex Peak. It's the recently most biocompatible material for dental use. Even better than titanium, because titanium is metal alloy. So this is not metal, very biocompatible, and it has mechanical properties of very high performance, very high wear resistance, and it has a cortical bone-like combination of rigidity and elasticity. It behaves like a bone in the mouth, and it's metal-free, of course. It has no monomers inside. It's inert. This means nothing goes in and out of Peak from the mouth. No liquids, no acids, nothing. It's not affected by these kind of substances inside the mouth. They're ideal for crown and bridge frameworks and some implant-supported fixed dentures or overdentures. You can use it as a framework, or you can do like removable denture frameworks. So here is a selection guide for you based on the indications of the material of the cases. So as I told you before, like for partial removable dentures, Deflex advises you to choose from classic, fluence, or supra, and complete dentures and overdentures. You have all the options and all the solutions from Deflex in one single table. About the physical properties, about the elasticity and chemical bonding to acrylic, we try to gather everything in one single table. Like Deflex Classic, for elasticity, we can call it like a reference value, like 0, like a starting point. M10 is 44% higher rigidity. It's more stiff. Fluence is a little bit more flexible, like 6% more flexible. Supra is quite flexible when compared with classic, like 63%. And acrylato is little bit flexible, but when you use it inside a complete denture, it doesn't show its flexibility, so it's highly rigid material as well. And acetal is also rigid, very rigid when compared with classic, like 81%. And Deflex Peak, the old name was Ossis, then the name changed to Deflex Peak. It's 125% more rigid when compared with Deflex Classic. And the injection parameters, of course, are somewhat different according to the material we use. You have to pay attention to these parameters to get a perfect result. And Deflex team is always within reach for you, and you can get the information or the instructions from them whenever you need about the correct injection parameters to use on any kind of material from Deflex when you're using them. For OSIS, I left it blank because for OSIS we have two different type of application methods, and it's done with like a casting ring or in a muffle. So these two different methods require different parameters. So we will talk about them later on in a different session. For the injection machines, mainly we have three type of machines, which all of them are used with the injection flask muffle from Deflex. The most popular machine is the MAD 1300 model. It's all automatic, and we have MAD 1400 and MD 1500 machines as well. And these are the properties of injection machines in one table. And I want to more talk about this 1300 MAD because it's very practical and very strong machine. It has a cover for the flask for extra safety, and it has a sensor on there. And it has the integrated furnace, so most of you would probably know that some injecting machines are like you heat the cartridge in a separate place, and then you place it on the machine and make the injection. But Deflex injection machine is quite different. It has the integrated oven, the furnace, so the cartridge doesn't go anywhere. It stays inside. It's heated and the material is ready to inject, and the injection is done at the same time on the same machine without doing any extra kind of work. And it has a digital control panel. This is fully digital and fully automatic. It's already given the programs, the parameters of every injecting material for Deflex. And also it gives you some free space to make your own parameters and add to your machine while using it. And next time we will start talking about the instructions of making injection of Deflex materials in the flask, in the muffle. And this will include some application videos, some case examples, and we will talk about them. We will take a look in detail about polishing, about trimming, about preparing the wax modeling of the material. So everything will be talked during a next session, and you can follow our links, our pages to learn about when the next session will be held. So that's all for now, and please follow us to hear about the next session. I would like to say to you thank you for joining, and goodbye, and stay safe. Stay at home, please. Bye.